Okay, so welcome everybody to our first ever weekly team Zoom. This is super exciting for me. I've been wanting to do something like this for a long time, and your Diamond leaders and I are really, really excited to start really pouring into you. And we want to do it every Sunday, and it'll be at this same time at 8 Central. That's 9 Eastern, all the other time zones. Help me out with that later, but just fill in your team so that way they know. So today what we want to do is just pretend like you have no idea who we are. We're going to introduce ourselves. We're going to share each a tip, a training tip that we find is really important, and something maybe that we wish that we had known when we first got started. So bear with us. This is going to be just going over the basics and kind of giving you our background stories. And then for the next few weeks, what we're going to be doing is really every week on Sunday, focusing on one topic rather than covering a variety of different topics. We are going to cover like one specific thing. So for example, maybe next week we might cover for 30 whole minutes just blitzing. And then maybe the week after that, we might cover, just wrap parties. And maybe the week after that, we might cover. So we're going to be covering in sections very thoroughly, giving different tricks and tips and ideas. And usually it's going to be hosted by one or two team leaders. So that way, it's not going to be hosted necessarily by the same, 5 people all the time. So it'll more likely be whittled down to just 2. So anyway, that's what we're going to be doing. I hope that you guys are really going to love it. I have a really good feeling about it, and I feel really excited, so I hope that you guys do too. But to get started, I wanted to introduce myself. My name is Michelle Carpenter. I'm a triple diamond with the business. I've been in for 3 years. And pretty much everybody on Team Boom is in my downline. So if you're on Team Boom, it means you're in my downline. And so this should be just for people on my direct team. I am a mom of 2. I've got 2 kids, and my husband is named Jonathan. He's right here with us. And so let me just tell my story. I'm going to just in a nutshell. So before It Works, I was a military wife. My husband was in active duty in the Air Force, and we had been stationed in Nebraska. And it came to be that we were just so tired. Like sick and tired of being sick and tired. That's how I felt. I felt like every single week it was too much money at the end of the money. I'm just going to mute everybody's audio. Anyway, we were just really broke, and I was looking into different opportunities. I was looking at going back to school and getting my education. At the time, this was in April of 2013, and I was looking at, have you seen these on Facebook where they come out and it says these are the best jobs of the year, and it has to do with income as well as being happy with your job. And
sorry.
I'm so distracted. I get so distracted so easily. Anyway, at the top of the list was a dental hygienist, and they made like 80 grand a year and, had a really great job. So I was looking at going back to school for that, and just every step of the way, it wasn't going to work for me. I thought, okay, if I start school, my husband might get orders, and I might have to leave in the middle of the school year, and then those credits might not transfer. And what am I going to do with my kids? How can I afford childcare? Also, I'm going to have to go back to school for like 4 years in order to hopefully be making like $80,000 in 4 years once I get out of school, but I'm going to have a ton of debt. So I just didn't really see any light at the end of the tunnel. Long story short, I just had a bad feeling about it, and I didn't end up completing my registration for classes for that. And about a week later, a friend of mine told me about the business. She told me that she was making really great money, and I went ahead and jumped in without even having seen a rep. I had a really good feeling in my stomach and in my heart, and I knew it was the right thing to do. And so I just jumped in. I went quickly. It took me 60 days to go ruby. It took me 4 months to go diamond. It took me 1 year to go double diamond, and I went triple diamond at 2 years and 2 months, so 26 months in. I'm pretty close to presidential now, and it has been the best 3 years of my life. It Works has been the best decision I've made. I'm going to be honest with you guys. For those of y'all that don't know me very well, I am honest, like to a fault, like to a bad, almost bad, too honest. I have had lots of ups and downs. I have shed many tears. I have, had really hard days, some of the hardest days. But in the end, when you weigh the pros and cons, there's so much good that has come out of it versus, on the negative side. So let's see, in October this last year, my husband got out of the Air Force. My income was enough to where I said, you know what? We both decided that he didn't need to re-enlist. We were tired of him deploying, 7 months out of the year and being gone all the time. And so from here on out, since last October, we have been just living off of It Works money. So it's really amazing what the business has let us do. It's allowed us to go on our honeymoon just 10 years late. When we got married, we were super, super young and didn't have any money. And so we were able to go on an amazing vacation. We were able to take our kids on a surprise trip to Disney World. I've made some of my best friends of my entire life through this business, and it has been an incredible blessing. So that's my story. I would love, and let me just share a tip with you, and then I'm going to ask one of our other leaders to speak. For me, something that I wish that I had known at the beginning of this business, and actually somebody did tell me this, and I didn't listen. I feel like with my story, it's been a lot of ups and downs, and I'll get more into it another day. But it hasn't always, my success story hasn't looked like this. It hasn't been a steady going up all the time. There's lots of rebuilding and lots of stress and lots of, everybody on my team quit and I had to start over. What I wish that I had known at the beginning was that success doesn't mean perfection. It's okay when people tell you no. It's okay when people block you. It's okay when people that you enroll as distributors on your team, and they don't really want it the same way you do. I remember being really frustrated one day. I had built all the way to diamond, and I only had one person that was actually working along with me. And my upline told me, it's okay, Michelle. One day you'll find someone who wants this as much as you do. And so that's what I want to leave with you. If you are, building and maybe you don't have any people on your team yet that want this as much as you do, one day you'll find them. And it doesn't necessarily, and just because it's not right away doesn't mean that you're doing something wrong. Does that make sense? Good. Christy, you look so beautiful with that hat on.
Oh, thanks. I'm like yelling at my kids. They're carrying cupcakes to the house. I'm like, ugh.
And we know how you like it. Well, I was just saying that when I went diamond, I only had one person that was working with me, and that was you. Mm-hmm. So I would love for you to please tell the ladies your story, because yours actually is a lot like mine.
Yes. So to start off with, I was a teacher for 10 years. I taught preschool, and probably about 3 months before It Works fell in my lap, it was like the darkest time of my whole career. I mean, it was me coming home every day crying. It was just bad. And I started looking for jobs, and I'm a military wife too. And so some of these jobs I had to be on call, and I couldn't do that because my husband was on call for 24 hours. And so everything just wasn't going the way I wanted it to. And so I didn't realize what I was being prepared for. I was being prepared for it works. And so anyways, when I had met Michelle, 3 or 4 years prior? No, I don't know. She did our photos. And so she posted one day about this crazy wrap thing. And I immediately went to the ATM, drew money out, went to her house. She wrapped me, and I became a loyal customer right on the bat. And then for that whole next month of May, this was May 2013. And so she kept talking to me about the opportunity. And I kind of knew like it was for me, but I kept, I don't know. And so every Sunday that we went to church for 4 weeks, every single sermon was on opportunity. And I'm like, okay, I get it. I got to join. And so I joined, and I promoted fast. In August, I became a Ruby. And slowly after that, my team quit. And that was where it was just me and Michelle. And it was at conference, our first conference, and it was just me and her. And I think what got me through it, because people ask this, and this is a common thing, I would sit there and watch videos over and over and over on success of distributors or ambassadors. And I just knew it, if they could do it, that I could do it too. And I just plugged in. And I was, I don't know I was raised in this kind of lifestyle, so I kind of knew the ups and downs. But I also thought coming in, oh, I'll be ambassador in a year. Like, that's easy. I didn't think like, oh, this is work. And I've been in for 3 years on June 2nd. And it's a lot of work, but it's worth it because, like Michelle said, you're going to have ups and downs. And I've had ups and downs. I had more downs at my job than I have ever had in the 3 years in this business. And I don't know, you're not going to work and being made to feel like you're incompetent, or having your boss make you cry. That is no way to live. And I just thought it was like normal. I was just kind of like, okay, I'll just get over it. And so I think this business has helped me find myself as a person. And I just think, like, a tip I would give is, because I work this business belly to belly, is don't try to do everything. Like, if you see someone doing something, but it doesn't work for you, you do what works for you. I have tried to be like, oh, I'll go and do this. And then it doesn't work for me. And then I spend so much time doing that it takes away from what really built my business, and what built me to diamond and then double diamond.
You mean like,
so that's my tip is, well, yes, but like, I think I got away from like doing parties. Like, I love doing parties. So I think I got away from doing that. And so do like what you know will, I don't know, like I just love meeting new people, and I kind of got away from that. And so when you find like your gift in this business, run with it and know that that is what makes you unique. You don't have to do what everyone else is doing.
I agree so much. Well, I think if I can say, and I mean, forgive me, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think that one of the people that really helped turn your business around was Dallas.
Yes.
I remember when you were talking to Dallas before she signed up, you were freaking out. You were so excited, really nervous. So I'm hoping that Dallas will share her story with us next.
Okay.
Let me unmute here real quick. So first, I apologize if I look ridiculous. I was up for 36 hours and I've only slept for about 2.5 or so now. So please excuse the zombiness. So Miss Christy and I met on Facebook in August of 2014. My husband had just gone to Korea, and we moved back up here from New Mexico because this is originally where we're from. We both grew up in this area, and we started dating in high school and did that whole love story thing. And I had gone to school in New Mexico to be a biochemist. That's what my background is: cancer research, diabetes research, big labs and machinery and all that stuff. And I thought that, I knew where I was headed. I understood everything that I was like, okay, I went to school, I got my bachelor's, I got my master's, and now I have to find a lab job, and this is how it's going to go. I'm going to work 9 to 5 type deal. So we came here and I started looking for jobs at different hospitals and different research centers, and they were like, no, you're too too specifically trained. We don't have any openings in the lab you want to be in. So I posted on one of the Offutt Wives pages, and I said, does anyone know of anything where I can, help people get healthier and, have, just is anybody hiring essentially? And Christy messaged me, and I didn't realize at the time how nervous she was, because I was nervous to meet her, because I was like, oh, this is something I've never done before. But we went and we met for coffee, and she started telling me all about this wrap. I was like, okay, there's no way, this is crazy. Like, I would have heard of this. I would have seen, all my friends posting about this. So she took her daughter to the bathroom. And Christy, I don't know if I told you this before, but when you guys were in the bathroom, I actually called one of my friends who's a doctor. And I was like, have you heard of this thing? Like, I'm looking at it right now, and I'm looking through the ingredients, and it looks pretty legit. And he was like, no, but if you get some, send them to me. So he was actually my first customer, and he looks much better now. So, but yeah, so I tried a wrap from Christy, and I don't think she expected me to call her back. But then the very next day for a birthday present, my mom gave me the 100 to sign up, and I kind of jumped in full force. This is my cat, and she thinks that I am her personal servant, so sorry. Yeah, so I started in August of 2014, and I was a little bit slower to promote. I went Ruby in February of 15, so 6 months. And then I started a different lab job for this pharmaceutical company. And so I worked more. I wish I had been pushing harder, I guess, like looking back at it, because this past February I got asked to do some very unethical stuff for that company, and decided, like, that was my sign, like, no, I don't want this. This is not where I belong. It's not good. And I was like, I have to hit diamond. So the bonuses had just been announced for at conference. We were all there, and I looked at Christine. I was like, I'm going diamond, and I'm quitting my job. So I went from Ruby to diamond in 2.5 weeks between when we got back from conference and then the end of February. And now I'm set up for double. So June, we're pushing pretty hard for double in June. So now I can work fully from home. I can be with my daughter all the time. I can be with all of our animals. And pretty soon when my husband gets out of the military, we're going to be able to restructure our farm and have an animal sanctuary, and then open our own research lab and pretty much do exactly what we want to do the way it should be done, instead of trying to do everything by the books. You gotta you have to think outside the box. I guess that would probably be my biggest tip for you right now, especially newbies. Going along with what Christy said, not everything that we do is going to be like exactly how you want to run your business. Like, you need to find what works for you, but you need to think outside the box. You know, do events, do posts on Facebook, but also be creative, because the more creative you are, the more excited you are, people are going to see that energy and they're going to want to be a part of that. So I have comments coming up, so I can't see everybody right now, but I hope that makes sense. To just get out there, be fun, and be excited. You know, this is your business and you need to treat it and run it like your business. So
I think that's really good advice. I think it was Lori Conway. She's an ambassador for those of y'all that don't know her, and she's in our upline. One time she said, ignorance on fire is better than knowledge on ice. You don't need to know everything about everything, but if you're excited, people are automatically going to be drawn to you. And something that's huge, like Dallas said, was Christy put a wrap on her, and showed her the wrap. And here she is now. So don't be afraid to let the wrap do the talking. Thank you so much for sharing with us, Dallas. I'm going to quickly just pop over to Katie. Everybody, this is Katie Bellamy. She is one of my specials. Long story, but she is one of my favorites. So, Katie, would you tell us your story, please? Oh, but you've got to unmute yourself. There you
go. Okay. So like she said, I'm Katie. I have 2 beautiful children. I have a little 2-year-old girl and a little 2-month-old boy. I have been in the business since July 27th of 2014. A few days before I even heard of It Works, I was talking to my husband that I needed to find something so I could stay home with my daughter. I was working full-time. I was going to school full-time to be a doctor, and I was literally getting an hour of sleep a night, and it wasn't working anymore. And I had heard of, Mary Kay and all this and all that. And so I talked to him about it, about, finding something like Mary Kay that I could do from home. I never even heard of It Works. And then 2 days later, after I had that conversation with him, I was scrolling through Facebook, and on one of my friends' posts, someone said, you can work from home, stay home with your son. And so I messaged that girl. I didn't know who she was or what, it was about or anything, but I'm like, hey, I need this. And so she told me all about It Works and, everything like that. And I talked to my husband that night, and he told me no. So naturally the next day I signed up. And that was about a year and a half ago. And I have also had the struggles with this business, just like everyone else has. But it's been so worth it, the building and rebuilding and making new friends and helping people get healthy and build their confidence back up and everything like that. It's been really awesome. And I gained 80 pounds with each of my kids. So the confidence that it brings me, being able to get rid of that, is nice too.
What's one thing that you wish that you had known in the beginning that maybe you could share with everyone?
Probably that being consistent is actually really important. And like, just you have to actually try. It doesn't just come to you. Like, you have to make your posts. You have to talk to people. You can't just expect people to come to you, especially if you're not posting. They aren't going to know what you even do. So
when you say be consistent, you mean like in social media, or be consistent however you're working your business?
Yes, however you work your business. If you do social media, you need to be posting your 3-3s. If you do parties, you need to be having a party every weekend, or whatever. You have to do what you need to do. You have to get in front of people somehow.
You have to make this a priority.
Mhm.
Okay, that's really great advice. Before we jump off, I told you guys I promised you it would only be 30 minutes. I want to ask my husband, Jonathan, if he would say a couple words just quickly. We've got 4 minutes before we promise to be off. So would you just tell us a little bit about your story and give a tip to everyone, especially like maybe from a man's point of view?
Sure. Good grief. Well, my story was I was deployed when Michelle started doing this, so I was a little apprehensive about it, but at the same time, I was happy that she was starting to do something, mainly just to, from my perspective, was to keep her busy from just being at home with the kids and everything else like that. And so when I got back home is when I first got introduced to the products. Basically, literally, when I got home, she threw a wrap on me before she even said hi to me. But from there, I saw that she had a really great success. But from I guess from my point was I had to really step up and take care of things in the house as far as dishes and laundry were going. So that was it was a huge change from what I was used to, and so we had several conversations about that. But my mindset did finally change to where I saw the vision, I saw everything, and it probably really turned on when we went to our first conference. That conference was life changing for me, and it really just shook me to where I knew that this company could be that end all be all for us as long as we worked it. So if some of y'all haven't been to conference, plan for it. Start saving now, because they're going to announce it here in the next several months, and just be ready for it, because it will change your life if this business has not already changed your life. So working through that, I didn't work my business that hard. I mean, I did sign up underneath Michelle eventually, but I was telling people at work about it. I was using the products, and I absolutely love our products now. From basically I use almost everything that we sell, and it's all awesome.
So what tips do you give?
As far as tip would go, I think the best tip I can give is just to blitz, and blitz more, because that's what I try to do. And I've blitzed I don't know how many people, but what was it? Was it a couple days ago? I blitzed somebody, and I told Michelle, like, I got in the truck, I was like, that was like the best freaking blitz I've ever done. And it only took me like over a year to finally get to that point where I felt confident, and I felt when I walked away from it, it was like that walking away from it is a super adrenaline rush, because I don't know, everything finally clicked. I finally, everything that you are, like when you blitz somebody for your first time, you're like, oh, if I would have done this and this and this and said this or not said that, it would have been great. And it finally just flowed straight. I didn't have to think about it. I didn't have to worry about what I was going to say, how I was going to say everything. Everything clicked perfectly. So my best tip is just to blitz, and keep blitzing, and it'll happen naturally. And pretty soon it'll be second nature, and you'll have your blitz card in your hand before you even know what you're doing. And and then you'll just reap the benefits from there.
One of my favorite quotes ever is, you can't say the wrong thing to the right person. If they're meant to be your customer or your distributor, no matter what you say, even if you sound like an idiot and you stumble all over your words and you say things backwards, and, you know, you drop everything on the counter and you look like a moron, if it's meant to be, it'll be meant to be. But on the flip side, you can't say the right thing to the wrong person. If it's not meant to be, even if you know everything about everything, it's not going to turn out. Real quick, guys, let's wrap this up. It's 8:30. I promised that it would only be 30 minutes, so feel free to jump off if you have plans. But before we go, for anybody that wants to stick around for a couple more minutes, Tiffany Brooks is asking what you said when you blitzed.
Okay. I was getting measured for my cousin's wedding, and so the guy was putting in all my information, and I just started talking to him. I was like, "So, how long have you worked here?" Blah blah. You know, he answered me back, and I said, "Oh yeah, that's cool. Oh, I think I have a coupon for what I do, and this is what I do." And I just laid it right there in front of him, and then he literally stopped what he was doing, and he was like, "Holy cow, what is this?" And so I started telling him about it, where he could, where the wrap goes, and then I just flipped it over and I said, "And then this is what it does," and then I just left it at that. And he started looking at that, and he was like, "No way, this is really great." And then he started asking me about where to get it, and I told him where all my information was right there on the back of it. Pointed that out to him, and then he goes, I think I know some people that would really benefit from this, but I don't think I really need it, because the guy was in pretty good shape. And I was like, well, we have other great products. One of my other favorite product is energy, our energy drink, and he was blown away that we had an energy drink. And so while I was doing all that, I also pulled out my phone, pulled up my Facebook, and clicked the search bar. And then I asked him if he was on Facebook, which he responded yes. And he saw my phone, and he literally took my phone out of my hand and typed in his name and sent himself a friend request from there, and then left it at that.
That's awesome. I think what I'm actually having an aha moment myself. I don't know about the rest of you guys, but let me just outline it for you, and then we'll wrap it up. But when I remember when I talked to Christy for the first time about the business, I felt for sure that she wasn't going to want to be on my team with me. I remember the very first time I went over to her house, she had such a nice house. She had like furniture from like furniture stores and stuff. I had stuff off of yard sale pages and like all junk furniture that people like left on the side of the road, and we'd drive past and I'd like throw it, like take it with me, free stuff from the yard sale pages and stuff. That's what my house looked like. And I remember going over to her house when I was dropping off 3 years earlier, when I was dropping off a CD for her family's pictures. And I told her, I said, "Wow, you've such a really nice house." And she goes, "Thank you. I worked really hard for it." And I never would have thought that she needed this business. To me, she was like rich, like super, super rich. Like she doesn't need this business. And I think I can speak for Christy, and Christy, unmute yourself and correct me if I'm wrong, but I think that Christy felt sort of the same way about Dallas. Dallas is super, like Dallas has the sexiest brain of like anybody I know. She's got this giant sexy brain, and she's so smart, and she is so educated, and she knows what she's doing, and she like can split atoms and like really smart science stuff. But she didn't need this business, in Christy's eyes. So guys, offer this business to everyone, whether you think that they need it or not. It is, I feel a deep, personally, I feel a deep responsibility to offer it to everyone. And it's because one day I know I will be an ambassador with this business. It's just a matter of time. One day I know that becoming an ambassador will one day lead to me being Black Diamond. It's just a matter of time. Whether it takes me 5 years or whether it takes me 50 years, I will get there. I can't help but get there if I'm working my steps to success. That's it. And it would absolutely break my heart, and this is something that's driven me from the very beginning. It will absolutely break my heart if someone in my family or, you know, a friend of a friend looked at me and was like, you know, I don't know why you didn't offer me this business. I needed it and you didn't ask me to do it. So I take that responsibility seriously. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and wrap up really quick for Victoria. Thank you so much for being bold enough to ask, Victoria. I really appreciate that about you. But Victoria asked me to repeat something real quick, so I'm going to do that. So I said that ignorance on fire is better than knowledge on ice. You can know everything about everything, but not say anything, and you're not going to get anywhere in this business. Vice versa, if you know nothing, but you're excited and you've got a rap and you have passion and you're just oozing excitement and putting it out there, people are going to be drawn to you and want to know what you've got. So thank you so much to all of you who jumped on the call tonight. I'm going to go ahead and stop the recording.